You want to know the 6 new build trends that are a huge bust, in my opinion. We're seeing them everywhere and they really should not be. Anyway, I'm Audra Slinky, president of the Home Staging Resource, and in my trends, tips, and starting points for an awesome 2025 workshop, I actually talked about trends, the life cycle of trends, the importance of trends, what's hot, what's not, and these 6 new build trends, which I saw everywhere when it came to new construction all over the country, are not hot. You ready? Number one, I think we've all kind of known this, but boy, did I see it a lot. Gray vinyl flooring. Now, the gray trend kind of rebounded off the brown trend, and then we went to the white and black trend, and then now we're going to the warm trend. So gray's kind of almost 2 color trends back, and yet I'm still seeing it, still seeing builders use it. We don't want to see it. And if you wonder what I'm talking about, this is a prime example. All of these photos off of realtor.com, new build homes. And the problem here is this is not a natural color wood. And it never kind of was, but it was just hot and trending. So people just went with it. This is going to drive the new homeowner crazy. They are going to want to pull these out pronto. So this may seem like an obvious one. The next handful, not so much. Ready? Number 2, geometric accent walls. And you may be like, what, Audra, are you talking about? Now, here is the deal. There is a time and place for a geometric accent wall. In fact, there is a time and place almost for every one of these trends that are a bust, but they're just trending too much. And most times the geometric walls that you see or randomly see in new builds like this, they just don't really fit. It's like, why do we want the bottom of this island to be where the eye goes in this home? Geometric typically is where obviously it's something different. It's going to be where the emphasis is, the focal point of the room, and it really shouldn't just be splashed on some random wall in your space. If you really do want to put a geometric wall and you have a modern home that fits the architecture of your home, it must be layered. But I'm seeing it everywhere in new builds. Here's another example, again, of it just kind of splashed to the side randomly. It's not on any other wall, and it just doesn't seem to fit. Number 3, and this one, I'm just going to say only because it's just been so overused. And thank you, Joanna Gaines, because of the kitchens or black and white kitchens. But this is the excessive use of black hardware because obviously black hardware, mixed metals, there's a time and place. And I know we've all chosen it, right? So there's time and place, nothing wrong with it. What I'm saying, this is what I'm seeing in a lot of new builds, is just a little too much of it. And when I talk about too much, it's like this. In a bathroom, everything's white and then the black hardware is everywhere. Or here's another example. And it's a reason why we're already rebounding off of this black, white, aggressive color trend into more warm color trend because it's not very livable. It's a little too stark. So just be aware of this as you're picking these fixtures for your home. Moderation and everything. You don't want to overdo it. And against this black and white, it's just becoming, to me, a little too much. And in new builds, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. Number 4, yeah, still going with the black and white thing, guys. Black and white exteriors. Again, there's a time and a place. A beautiful, black home in the country, the forest, surrounded by greenery, kind of fits. But what we're seeing is builders all over splashing these black and white homes all over the United States. And it's a beautiful architectured home, but it's just everywhere. And I talked about this when I talked about the essential elements that you need to know about trends in a different post. And one of the essential elements is when you just see it everywhere, nobody likes it. It becomes excessive and it becomes obsolete. And in this case, and I didn't even show the black homes. I remember not even 15 years ago, if you drove around a neighborhood and saw a black home, you thought that they were just someone who really liked Halloween. Well, now we're seeing them everywhere. And it's just become a little too much. Unless your house lends itself to this style, and even then, you might want to just veer away from it for now because it's just, You're just going to get sick of it. It's like anything else. We're seeing too much of it. Builders are splashing it everywhere too much. Number 5, those counter splashes. I remember when it started trending. I'm almost saying it's kind of a fad. And the only reason why I think this is becoming more of a fad is because it really just depends on the quality of the counter. So there is nothing wrong with a counter splash. And we see it a lot of times in these beautifully designed kitchens like so, right? This is a very expensive stone. The problem is in the new builds, they're not putting in these really nice, expensive stones that you're going to want to go everywhere in your kitchen. This is more along the lines of what you're seeing in the new builds, and it just doesn't carry, doesn't pull off, and it just becomes a little too much. And in case you're wondering, let's go back to that geometric kitchen with that counter splash. Do we think that these homeowners are going to get sick of this fairly soon? Yeah, it's just a little too much. It's not a super quality stone. It's just not very livable. So just beware, and why not break it up with something a little bit more simplified? Um, I just think these counter splashes with cheaper stone or all over the building, it's just, I don't think it looks that great. And number 6, and this one's a biggie, and I saw it everywhere. And if you doubt me, go to realtor.com, pick any heavy metro. You can search by new construction only. And now that I've showed you this, you're going to see this stuff everywhere. And it's this trend for inexpensive linear fireplaces. And here's the thing. When you see a trend in new builds, it's just constant, and it's just an inexpensive thing, like not finishing out windows, or I could keep going on. These are 6 that were just my big pet peeves. But linear fireplaces, just flat into a wall, are just an inexpensive way to put in a fireplace. And I would make the argument that, yes, it may fit maybe in some modern homes, but the fireplace is typically the focal point of your living space. And when that focal point looks like this, I could almost make the argument it's just not attractive. There's just not that much redeeming by this linear fireplace and this big cement wall that this homeowner is going to appreciate in 5 years. And I saw them everywhere, ad nauseum. Linear little fireplace with, oops, sorry about that, with the huge top, like stone or marble tile fireplace. Is just everywhere. I mean, look at this one. These new homeowners, and I should preface, every one of these photos were multi-million-dollar new builds. So these weren't, you could say, oh, Audra, you just picked cheap new builds. No, these were all $1 million, $2 million plus new builds, not in California, not in $1 million locations. And I was shocked to find that they went pretty inexpensive on some of this stuff. This is a fireplace that this poor homeowner is going to really quickly get sick of. And it doesn't always even fit the style of the home. It doesn't look good. And here is a last example. So that's it. That's a roundup. My 6 new build trends I think are a bust. These builders should start getting away from it, start moving to more of a classic kind of trending style that's going to last forever, because linear fireplaces in every single home across the country is just not going to cut it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this, had a little fun, and be curious to see what you think. Go ahead and put it in the comments below. Like I said, there's a time and place for any one of these. I'm just seeing them everywhere. We'll be curious to see if you think the same, and I'll see you in the next video.